Hey guys, this is Goku, and on this channel we talk about poker and we try to improve our game using various different solutions. Today we're gonna use the GTO wizard. We've been using it for the past few days and really testing it out, taking it for a spin, so to speak, and so far so good. We're gonna continue just playing on the GTO wizard, on the GTO trainer, meaning versus GTO opponents. We're not gonna play with the stats. We're playing just any spots, any MTT spot, and I think after we play, I don't know, 100 hands or something like that, then we'll try to maybe find specific drills to focus on specific areas of our game, but for now we're just playing everything. So let's see what this is. And we see we have ace 8. We opened it from the hijack. We got 3-bet from the button. Now do we call this or do we fold? I would fold on 35 BBs, ace 8 off from the hijack versus a button raise, and the solver approves, and yeah, it's 100% fold. So let's move on. A7 suited, it went raise from the hijack, 3-bet from our big blind to 5x, and then we get 4-bet by the hijack. I think this is an easy fold. And the solver disagrees. The solver is calling this 100% of the time with a7 suited. So on an 80 BB stack, it's calling a 4-bet with a7 suited. Let's try and play it this way. So we call, and then the board comes king 7-6 with 2 spades. Do we lead here ever? We 3-bet, there was a 4-bet, and we called the 4-bet. Let's see. I think we check mostly, maybe not 100%. The hijack continues for a quarter. Obviously we just call it. Deuce of spades on the turn. We're gonna check it. Hijack bets a quarter. Now do we call it? Do we fold? Do we go all in? I think we're gonna call it. And then 9 of diamonds on the river. I mean, that's why I would just fold it every time pre, because I get into such bad spots with a7 of diamonds. We don't beat anything. We've invested 50 big blinds into the spot and we have to fold on the river. And the GTO says it's wrong. We should call 100%. Somehow. We're gonna, I think, analyze this because I need to understand why the solver thinks it's a call. Okay, so it's not 100% call. Here we see that this is actually a 25% fold. So, so here's our range. By this point in the hand on the river and facing the all-in. And if we see what we should be folding here is the hands with 0 equity, right? With 0 EV, maybe. Equity is the wrong word here, or isn't it? yeah, with very low equity, I guess these are the hands that we should fold. And weirdly enough, queens and jacks are here. Not all of them. And we should call. Wait. If we look at queens that we should be folding, are the spade heart, spade diamond, spade club. Okay, spade. Yeah, so all the spade queens were folding and all the non-spades were calling, and I assume this will be the same with jacks. Yeah. And yeah, looking at the hands we're calling and at their equity, yeah, a7 suited isn't very high. What does it mean that it is 22.4 equity? What does it mean? If we go EV, yeah, maybe EV is better. Why does ace queen? Oh, this is ace queen suited, I guess. Yeah. Okay, makes sense. So we're calling with our obviously not that hands with spades. We're also calling with some kings. We're calling with queens that do not have a spade. No, we're actually calling with a hand with a queen that has a spade. That's blocking the flush. Yeah, makes sense. With ace king, we're calling with the hands with spades. And an a7 suited, we're calling with all of them. Ranges, equity graph. Well, I wish I understood these graphs better. I need to go through some tutorial for sure. But yeah, it turns out that the hijack's range doesn't have many hands by this point, and only is very strong. He's got a lot of the not hands, good hands, and we're mostly our range is mostly created. Our contains mainly, weak hands and trash hands. We have some best hands, but not a lot, so we're clearly at a range disadvantage. And yeah, it's weird that we're calling here with ace7 suited. But anyway, let's go back to our trainer and let's move on to the next hand. 10-4 suited on the button after cut of limbs. Do we limp as well? I kind of feel the urge to limp, but there's no solution for this spot, so that sucks. Yeah, let's go to the next hand. Jack 10 suited. We opened from under the gun on 35 BBs. We get 3-bet. The solver seems to call in these spots almost always, which is weird. But on ace a7 we're gonna check and we're gonna call the 10% pot bet. 3 of hearts on the turn. Not a great card for us. We're gonna check. The villain bets quarter and I think we just fold. Let's see. Pre-flop it is 100% call. On the flop there's a check and fold. Yeah, so even to a 10% bet we should actually just fold. But then, as you can see on the turn, the solver likes leading for a quarter or for half pot and then checking 30% of the time. Okay. Yeah, ace king on 60 big blinds suited is always gonna be an easy decision, so not much to see here. Ace queen off, we open under the gun, we get raised. This is again very easy decision. Queen 3 off on the big blind, under the gun has limped. I think we're just gonna check it. And on a queen 7-5 all spades, should we bet it a little bit? Perhaps best to check. And yeah, I wonder any merit to raising, probably not. Should just call. 7 of clubs on the turn, check again. Bet quarter from under the gun, we're gonna check call. And on the queen on the river, I think we're gonna check shove. But it gets check, so river is the wrong move. We should just shove all in 83% of the time and then bet a third, pot bet 16% of the time. As we see, EV is very close, but the solver just doesn't use this option. And actually on such a shallow stack, I guess it makes sense. We have to be shoving wide here. And that means we should also include some of the nut hands that we have. Okay, let's move on. Ace queen off, open from under the gun 1. On 25 BBs from hijack, I think we're mostly just calling. We're doing a small amount of 3-betting, I would assume. He continues for a quarter pot, even less perhaps than that. And we're just gonna call. I mean, this sizing is weird. I don't really see it. Sounds so small sizing often. Goes check. We're gonna check with our ace queen. And we're gonna check it down. We have some showdown value, I guess. But the GTO doesn't approve on the turn. It would like us to bet quite often, 55% of the time, to bet half pot, over half pot, then to bet a third, 10% of the time, and to check only 35% of the time. And on the river, it doesn't like checking behind at all. It likes betting close to pot, over betting, or betting 2/3 of the pot, which is interesting. I guess it does that because it wants to it realizes that we don't really have that much showdown value because we're only beating ace highs or Broadway suited hands that, well, not really. Queen 10 made it, so we're not beating a lot, and we want to get the hero to fold all the 9s, 7s, jacks, and pocket pairs. So I would assume that is why we should bet, and we can maybe even go to study the spot and see exactly the range from the villain. If we go to ranges and see what the villain has here. So yeah, well, we don't bet, we don't beat almost anything from his range, even some of the trash hands, and 8s, the hand that he had, is actually in this category. And by betting here, I think he folds a lot of his trash hands, weak hands, which is 53% of his range here. Some good hands, perhaps he may also fold. But not likely, and best hands, of course, he's not folding, so yeah, I wonder what this is. This equity graph, I'd like to understand it because it looks nice. But yeah, that would be it for this session. We'll finish here. We've played just 8 hands, so not a lot, but there'll be many more sessions of this. I'm enjoying it. Hope you guys are enjoying it too. Stay tuned for more videos of the GTO Wizard, and I'll see you then. Bye.